You've likely already seen a bunch of XP farming guides on YouTube about making adaptive frames or shooting animals or whatever it is you're doing. Forget about it. I'm going to show you how you make thousands of XP every minute. It requires a bit of work, but it's worth it in the end. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to StarField. Today I want to show you my XP farming factory. Let me just show you what the end product is going to be. As I said, you likely seen guides that says like go in and create like adaptive frames, and we all know crafting adaptive frame gives you 1 XP. And I was sitting and playing around here, and as you begin to level up and you get better and better at getting access to better and better crafting materials, eventually you're going to be able to make these magnets, and creating one of these generates 9 experience, which is a lot more. So I thought, what if we build a factory that just mass produces these, just allows us to build them in bulk, because that should mean we could, for very little time, get a huge amount of experience. And that's what I'm going to show you today. Now, it wouldn't be a down-to-earth video if I haven't completely over-optimized this process. Yes, there has been large spreadsheets involved. Here is the schematic for the entire factory. What you can see here is we have our final factory here, and this is the only planet in the system that has this rush site material, so you have to have your final factory here. The only other thing we need is semi-metal wafers, we need lithium, and we need supercooled magnet. The semi-metal wafers is going to be produced up here, the supercooled magnet down here, and the lithium we're just also mining that in the Ixyl system as it was available here as well. So the first 2 factories that you can see up here, we are on Ixyl 5, and we have one making copper and one making silver. The reason why they're separate is because I couldn't find a spot where both were available at the same place, so I ended up just making 2. And we can see here from the arrow that this factory is going to output 0 wire. Let's go and see what this factory looks like. Here we have the copper farm. This is the first, this is the start of the line. We can see we have all our miners over here, just going into an overflow box and then straight into just a system normal cargo link. It's not into, as you can see, there is no box up here for helium-3. This is just a normal cargo link. So we don't need to provide it any helium-3. It will just automatically move it on to the next stage. And that's really all there is here, other than obviously some wind turbines that allows us to get some power here. And I like to also always put down a large landing pad to get easy access to my ship. Here we go. We go and check the control console. We can see that that is linked to our 0 wire factory on the same planet that we're on right now. So let's go and take a look at that. It is a little more complicated than the previous one. Here we have another cargo link, and this is the one we linked to from the copper factory. And we can see we use the leftmost cargo box here, leftmost being the incoming box. So this is where our copper comes in the incoming box, and again down to a overflow container. That copper then goes into all these factories. I have 10 of these manufacturers on the planet here, and up here we have then our mining that produces silver into an overflow box and into all of these factories, and these factories are of course set up to build 0 wire. From there, another overflow box, and then this time you can see we're using the rightmost one, which is the outgoing one. So now the 0 wire is now available to be sent. Once again, just a normal cargo link so we can send it out. And if you don't know how you set up these factories, it's quite straightforward. You just go to the building. It's a simple fabricator, and then you just swap it until it says 0 wire over here on the left. There it was. And that's the one you're going to put down. You can see it needs 5 power, copper, and silver in order to manufacture. Taking a quick look at our link, we can see we now need to use to Ixyl 2, where we have our semi-metal wafer factory. And we can also see we get an input from our helium-3 farm. So let's first take a look at the helium-3 farm, and then we move over to the semi-metal wafer factory. The helium-3 farm is also very straightforward. We have helium-3 extractors, as you can see here. They each go into their own just very small overflow container. And then they all go into the outgoing box of 2 separate ones. Because again, remember we are sending helium-3 out to 2 different locations, so we need 2 of them. Oh, that was a very instant ship. Okay, hello. So that's all it really does here. And then there's some solar panels here for power. We don't need a ton of power here. It's a very straightforward factory. Here we are. Look at that beautiful factory. And there we have the semi-metal wafer constructors. Let me just show you what this looks like from the top. Okay. Lots of things going on here. First of all, you can see we have one here that has an incoming box that just goes into a gas storage and then straight in here. So this platform here is the outgoing box. This is the interplanetary link, and you can see that because it has this extra box back here for helium-3. What this one does is allows us to ship it out of the system and not just inside the system. We need helium-3 for this to function, so this one is connected to one of the plants at our helium-3 farm. Overflow box, and in there. Notice I don't need all these overflow boxes, but I like to keep them. And as you can remember, we needed those zero wire that we built in one of our previous factories. And that's what's coming in here. So that output box that we saw in the zero wire factory that was connected to the semi-metal wafer factory, that is connected to this one right here. And the output box, once again, into an overflow. And then in here, we are both mining, is this one, I think these are gold. Yes, so this one mines gold, sends into an overflow box. This one mines Astronomy into an overflow box. And the zero wire, the gold, and the Astronomy all goes into these 10 fabricators here. That is then producing the semi-metal wafers that then goes into another overflow box. And then they go in here, so now they're ready to be shipped out of the system. Now, if we move over to our final system here, you might say, why do I have these farms here? And why are there 3 of them on the same planet, all farming the same thing? These factories just works as basically import hubs. Problem is, we can only build 3 links, 3 cargo links, but there can only be 3 arrows pointing in and out. So why don't they point straight to this one? Well, the problem is, if we wanted to point straight to the final factory, we would need to have helium-3 available at the final factory. Now, we can't mine it anywhere else because we already spent our 3 wires, if you will, or 3 links, just importing the materials we need for manufacturing. And because there's no helium-3 available on this planet, we can't mine it there. And therefore, we are forced to put in an intermediate step. So we are building these import facilities, if you will, and their sole purpose is to take a material that comes from a different system, import them into a system, basically sitting on top of a helium-3 spot, mine the helium-3, import it, and then ship it over to another cargo link that then can send it without helium-3 to the final factory, meaning that we can also import into the final factory without spending helium-3. So now it gets a little more complicated, but let me show you what these factories look like so that you have an idea about how they work. So here's what such an import factory looks like. As you can see here, we just have extractors here. I'm not sure you need that many. I just put down plenty because why not? They are feeding straight into the fuel box back here. And this one is then connected. I think this specifically, this one is the lithium one. So that is connected to the interplanetary or interstellar link in the lithium factory. That is another system. And that means that all the lithium is going to be put in here in the incoming box. And you can see that connects straight to the outgoing box on the normal link, and it makes it available inside the system, so we can import it into the final factory without spending helium-3 at that final factory. And in fact, all these 3 import factories, they're all just built next to each other. I'm pretty sure if we actually jump up here, we might be able to see the other factories around us. You can actually see one, wow, 2 ships coming in here. We can actually see this one's coming in for this base. This one's coming in for the base over there, and that one's going to the base over there. So we can actually see all 3 bases. There's another import factory over there, and there's another one over there. They're very close proximity to each other. Don't put them up like right next to each other. Give them a bit of space, because I have found that sometimes the game doesn't like if bases are too close to each other. So I have like 500 meters between mine, and that seems to be working fine. Okay, and that leaves us to the final factory. So, up here, you can see we have all the rock site miners, and they put into a massive storage. You need as much storage as you can possibly make. I mean, apart from lithium, don't need that much lithium, but all the other ones, just build as much as you possibly can, because the more you have, the more you can store, the more XP you can generate per time you come here. So I just built a lot of storage here. So this one just stores the raw materials, and then we just have the 3 incoming pads. And again, we don't need interstellar pads, we just need the local ones. So we don't need helium-3 here, which is important. And then they're just connected to each of their own storage arrays here, here, and here. That stores up all the materials. You don't have to take them out of these arrays. All these arrays, are, of course, linked together. You might be able to see the links in there. Can actually see them just in there. You can see all the links. So these are just linked together in like a long chain. So I think they start here, then they go, that one goes to there, that one goes to there, that one goes to there, that goes to there, then over here, then I can't remember how they're linked together. But they're linked together in like a chain so that they just slowly fill up over time. And other than the usual, you know, power, I've also put down quite a bit of defense here just so you don't have pirates to show up. And then the final thing that I put down here at the center is a industrial workbench and a bed, because it is important that before we go and do anything, we just go and sleep for an hour, because that's gonna give you the... If you're married to an NPC, it gives you emotional security. That gives you 15% extra XP. If you don't, if you're not married, then you only get 10% for well rested. But then now all we really do is we just go in here. We find these magnets right here. We can see there they are. We haven't had that much time since the whole thing has restocked itself. You could go to like Venus and just wait there for 24 hours and the whole thing will fill up, no problems. That's probably the best way to do it. But now we could just go in. Obviously, we could only build 59 this time, but you saw in the beginning you could make like 910, I think, per cycle. But this time round, I only get 542 XP. But now I could just go to Venus as one of the resources has run out, wait there for 24 hours, and then come back here again, and the resources will have filled up. And then depending on how much storage you have, you can just keep making XP, 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 XP. And you can level up super quickly by doing so. And it doesn't require any ammo. It requires a ton of material to build all this and time, but frankly I found that to be quite fun. And it is through this factory that I have made the majority of my XP. You can see here I'm currently level 87. I would just come here whenever I have a skill that I want to level up. I just come here, I level it up, and then I would go and do something else, level up again, keep doing that. So yeah, that's how I've been doing my my leveling. I probably just want to stick around here for a bit just to get up to level 100 so I can get that achievement. But yeah, that's how it works. Really hope you found this useful. I think this is the fastest XP farm in Star Citizen right now, after you built the whole base, of course. If anybody knows of a faster method, well, do let me know. I would love to see it. So please go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you want more Starfield guides and tutorials. Thanks a lot for watching, and until next time, I'll see you guys in space.